Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Mike Lopez Show. I'm your host, ACMike. Listen, again, here we go. Special guest, right? This guy is truly a special guest. Not only is a guest, an Atlantic City ambassador, but also a friend, a personal friend of mine, does a lot of things for the city, does a lot of things for the state and for his children. But also what he's going to be doing for us is going to be bringing us a little bit to the cybersecurity world. Chris, please, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me today. It's good to see you, buddy.
It's great to see you too. Listen, I wish we were in the studio together, but with Zoom and the technology and the pandemic, this is the way we're doing it. But we got some great information to give out to our listeners and viewers right now. Chris is a cybersecurity training specialist. Chris, talk to us a little bit about what all that means, because I just got it out of my mouth. I don't know how I just did.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say, we're on Zoom, all this technology we've had since the pandemic. Which is actually one of the things that got me interested in cybersecurity. Since the pandemic, there's been over 300% rise in cybercrime, mostly because of people working from home outside of their work environment where it's more secure. And number two, just people in general are using the internet and their computers more, whether it's to conduct business or to use email, the internet. So cybersecurity is really starting to take off. We've heard about some of the more high-profile breaches in the past couple of years, the Colonial Pipeline being one of them, when the gas stations couldn't deliver gas to people up and down the East Coast, to the JBS meatpacking company. I've heard about solar winds with our government being hacked. So unfortunately, businesses, large and small, are becoming more and more victims, and cybersecurity is starting to really take off. And to be honest, Mike, I don't think there's enough defenders out there right now to protect everybody. Anybody that's connected to the internet, like my boss says, if you are connected, you are a target. So it's a profession that is really taking off, and we could really use more young people to start getting involved and learning the skills needed to help protect us.
So, Chris, and I appreciate you touching on that two-part question here for you, and you can go with it. What you just said there at the end there, I know we had spoken off camera a few times, and there's so many jobs out there, and let folks know how and what type of jobs. And two, some of the protections we can take right now that we don't have a lot of time here, but some of the protections we can take as novice or just computer, or just like you said, folks who just pay their bills or whatnot off their computer and whatnot.
Sure. As far as the job openings, there's about 500,000 cybersecurity related jobs open right now in the United States. And, Microsoft about a month ago put out a goal that they wanted to hire 250,000 people, or at least make them trained enough to be hired in cybersecurity by 2025. So if all you have to do is just Google cybersecurity jobs, you can find all different ways to get certified, go for certifications. You can watch YouTube videos. Even if you're not a technically savvy person, there's all sorts of jobs in this field. I myself come from a political, government, and teaching background, which really fits well with what I'm doing now. I'm doing security awareness training. And to your second question, Mike, there are very simple techniques that you can do and use when you're online. The hackers, 90% of the time, the way they get into your system or the way they get into your company's data is through phishing emails, which is they send you a nice juicy email that you want to click on. It looks so enticing. And all you have to do is click on a link, and you do, and then your system is infected. So there's ways to look at the URL by, if you hover over the link, there's a way to read the link without opening it. And there's just so many other different ways that you can do if you know these simple techniques to protect yourself and your company. Another big thing is password protection. We're so used to passwords. What we recommend is passphrases, and usually a phrase more than 12 characters. And if you go up 12, 13, 14, 15 characters, the amount of years it would take to actually break it goes up exponentially. So for example, 12 characters would probably take about 1 million years, let's say. If you go up to 15, it's probably about 50 million years, just by adding 3 more characters to your passphrase. So you really want to think of phrases and not passwords that are easily guessable.
And that's such great advice. Listen, there's so many of us out there that this is not even a joke, that, you know, whether it's a birthday or name or maiden name, that doesn't work anymore with what's going on in the way these folks crack into our you know, devices and whatnot. Chris, we're going to backtrack a little bit. You have an extensive background in political service, political and public service. Touch on that a little bit. We have a few minutes, but you know, your involvement in Atlantic City, and that's where we got to meet when our friend Don Guardian, who is now, congratulations, Don, an assemblyman coming up in January, will be sworn in. But yeah, touch on that, because as a young guy, man, you were, I think, one of probably the youngest chiefs of staff of Atlantic City. I know that for sure, but in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, well, I guess my interest in politics and government goes back to 9/11. September 11, 2001, I was a college student. My roommate woke me up and said, "Hey, look at the TV." I had just transferred from Jersey City, St. Peter's College in Jersey City, to the University of Kentucky. And it was my sophomore year, and my roommate woke me up. It was like 8:46 in the morning, around 9 o'clock, and looked at the TV screen, and just my whole perspective on the world changed that day. And immediately after college, I got involved in politics and was interested in world affairs, and worked in the Bush administration down in DC. I moved back to New Jersey in 2009, worked in some politics in Ocean County, and eventually ended up in Atlantic City, first at the CRDA. As you mentioned, one of my colleagues was Don Guardian. And one day he said, you know, "I'm going to run for mayor." And I said, "You know, I'd like to help you out." And, you know, I was going to do a phone bank or two for him, and it ended up being his campaign manager. He won and asked me to be his chief of staff. And for 4 years, from 2014 to 2018, I shared the office with the mayor and served the great people of Atlantic City.
And that's pretty awesome. And one of the phrases that you used, I think it was you, or maybe even Don told me a couple of weeks ago. It was like he knew what he wanted to do, but what was that? Go ahead. I love what you say.
Yeah. So, you know, I read that he was running, or he was going to make an announcement that he was going to run for mayor. And I went to him and I said, "Hey, Don, I saw you're going to run for mayor. Just so you know, I can run a phone bank for you or something." He's like, "Oh, thank you so much. I know exactly what I want to do as mayor. I just don't know how to get there." And I said, "Well, you know, I do have a little bit of a background in politics and running campaigns. I can help you out." He's like, "Yes, please, please." And so he, and I just wanted to do a phone bank or two for him, just make a few phone calls. But, you know, history, God has a funny way of working, and the rest is history, as they say.
Holy smokes. And it was an unbelievable time in Atlantic City, whether it was 4 or 5 casinos closing, state takeover, and all this great, interesting stuff where the spotlight was on Atlantic City statewide. So listen, Chris, we only got a few minutes left. I want to leave this for you. Where you want to take it, you take it, my friend. A little cyber, a little bit what you're doing. Tell folks what they need to know.
Yeah, so like I said, cybersecurity is becoming more in the news these days. Unfortunately, a lot of times companies don't talk about it. You know, there's sort of a stigma sometimes with being hacked and having all your information out there. And there really is a lot that you can do. Two-factor, multi-factor authentication. You know, a lot of banks require that now. You should really have that on your email, meaning that if you get a text message every time you sign into your email, and that really helps. It's like an extra layer of protection. You know, so let's just say in the middle of the night, you're sleeping and you got a text saying someone's trying to open your email. Is this the password? You know, obviously that's not you because you're sleeping. So just really having two-factor authentication really helps. And as far as I would say, it's a great career for young people, people in college who want to find a career that we need help protecting our country. This is a great way to serve. You can even go into the military now and use your computer gaming skills and help defend our country against cyber attacks. So it's you know, something that everybody can participate in. Every business, everyone that's connected to the internet should have some kind of security awareness training and some kind of cybersecurity plan to protect their assets and their data.
Chris, thank you so much. Listen, folks, we've been talking to Chris Filiciello, cybersecurity training specialist and great friend to myself and the city of Atlantic City. Chris, we appreciate you. We look forward to having you back. Folks, stay right where you're at.